What if the last photo you took with your best friend wasn't just a memory, but a clue to a murder? Picture this. Two young women, laughing, posing for a selfie, their smiles hiding a tragedy no one saw coming. Hours later, one of them is gone forever, and the other is hiding a terrible secret. That single photo, shared with the world, holds a detail so chilling it would unravel a crime that broke a family's heart and shocked a city. This is the story of Brittney Gargle, an 18-year-old whose light was extinguished by betrayal, and the haunting truth captured in a moment of joy. Stay with me as we uncover a case where friendship turned fatal, and a selfie became the key to justice. In the early spring of 2015, Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, was a quiet city, nestled in the heart of Canada's prairies. It's a place where community matters, where life feels safe and familiar. Brittney Gargle was a spark in that world, an 18-year-old with a smile that could light up the darkest room. Raised by her grandmother after her mother's struggles with addiction and an absent father, Brittney faced hardships early on, but she refused to let them define her. She was weeks away from graduating high school, juggling jobs at a local pizzeria and the German Concordia Club, saving every penny for a dream that burned bright to build and own hotels someday. Her friend Atasha Story described her as driven to get what she wanted, a young woman with ambition and a contagious zest for life. Brittney was spontaneous, fun-loving, the kind of person who made everyone around her feel alive. To her family, she was their heart, their joy, their everything. On the evening of March 24, 2015, Brittney was doing what she loved most, spending time with her best friend, Cheyenne Antoine. The two were like sisters, bound by years of shared secrets, laughter, and adventures. That night, they were in high spirits, ready for a carefree girls' night out. Before heading out, they stood in a kitchen, snapping a selfie together. Brittney's smile was radiant, her dark hair framing her face. Cheyenne, beside her, wore a striped dress, a thick, black braided belt cinched at her waist. It was a moment of pure happiness, the kind of photo you'd expect to see captioned with hashtags about friendship and good times. Brittney posted it to her Facebook page at 12:02 a.m., a snapshot of a night that promised nothing but fun. No one could have imagined that within hours that same photo would become a key piece of evidence in a murder investigation. The two friends dove into the Saskatoon night, bouncing between house parties and bars, drinking heavily and using drugs. It was the kind of reckless evening that feels exhilarating in the moment, the kind young people chase without thinking twice. But somewhere in the haze of alcohol and substances, something went horribly wrong. An argument broke out between Brittney and Cheyenne, though what sparked it remains a mystery. Was it a fleeting disagreement, a buried resentment that finally surfaced, or just the volatile mix of intoxication and raw emotion? Whatever it was, it set off a chain of events that would end in tragedy. At around 6 a.m. on March 25, 2015, a man walking near a landfill on the southern edge of Saskatoon along a quiet stretch of Valley Road near Cedarville Estates made a horrifying discovery. A young woman's body lay on the cold ground, lifeless. She was on her back, her shoes gone, her watch smashed, and her leather jacket stained with blood. A black braided belt lay nearby, its presence eerie and out of place. The man's hands shook as he called the police, his voice breaking as he described the scene. She was cold, with no pulse. When officers arrived, they sealed off the area, their faces grim. The body had no identification, and the scene offered few clues. But one detail stood out: marks around her neck, a clear sign of strangulation. This was no accident, it was murder. With no immediate way to identify her, investigators released photos of the victim's tattoos to the public, hoping for a lead. Brittney had a couple of stars inked on her left hand and a lion's head on her left shoulder blade, marks that spoke to her vibrant personality. Within hours, Atasha Story, Brittney's friend, saw the news and collapsed in grief. "I literally dropped on my couch and started crying," she later said. "She was just here 9 hours ago. The news tore through Brittney's family like a tidal wave. Her stepmother, Christy Wickenhauser, who had been growing close to Brittney despite some early struggles, was devastated. Her father, Everett Hilbum, was haunted by a missed chance to see her that day to fix her car. Her uncle, Al Gargle, described her as a wonderful young person, whose light defined their family. The loss left Saskatoon reeling, a community grappling with the senseless death of one of its own. The police turned to Brittney's social media for answers. Her Facebook page was a window into her final hours, filled with posts about her dreams, her friends, and her life. One post stopped investigators in their tracks. That selfie with Cheyenne, taken just 6 hours before her body was found. They studied it closely, and one detail sent a chill down their spines. Cheyenne was wearing a black braided belt, the same kind found next to Brittney's body. Could the murder weapon have been captured in a photo, posted for the world to see? It was a haunting possibility. The police dug deeper, reconstructing the night through social media posts and witness statements. They learned that Cheyenne and Brittney had been together, partying, drinking, and using drugs. But Cheyenne's account of what happened next didn't hold up. Cheyenne told police that after hitting several bars, she and Brittney argued and went their separate ways. She claimed Brittney left with an unidentified man while she herself went to visit her uncle. To support her story, she posted on Brittney's Facebook wall hours after her death. "Where are you? Haven't heard from you. Hope you made it home safe." At first glance, it looked like a worried friend checking in. But to investigators, it felt like a calculated move to cover her tracks. They checked CCTV footage from the bars Cheyenne mentioned, but there was no trace of the two girls. Her alibi was falling apart. Then came a breakthrough from an unexpected source. Someone approached Brittney's family with a shattering revelation. Cheyenne had shown up at a friend's house that night, drunk and hysterical, screaming that she had choked Brittney during an argument. The friend, overwhelmed and unsure what to do, eventually shared this with the Gargle family, who passed it to the police. Cheyenne's story to her friend was bizarre and inconsistent. She claimed she and Brittney had gone to a motel with two unidentified men, where they used drugs and drank. According to Cheyenne, they fought over cocaine, and when she stepped away to use the bathroom, she returned to find Brittney lifeless on the bed, with marks on her neck. One of the men allegedly threatened her with a gun, forcing her to help dump the body. But the police found no evidence of these mystery men. No CCTV, no witnesses, nothing to support her tale. Cheyenne's second story was thoroughly investigated, and it clearly did not happen, said Crown Prosecutor Robin Ritter. Investigators returned to the physical evidence. They collected the belt, Brittney's blood-stained jacket, and her smashed watch from the crime scene. Forensic testing confirmed the belt was the murder weapon, its weave matching the strangulation marks on Brittney's neck and marks found inside her car, suggesting a struggle. Then came a bombshell. DNA on the belt belonged to Cheyenne Antoine. The selfie, the confession to a friend, the DNA, it all pointed to one person. After 2 years of relentless investigation, including failed undercover operations, the Saskatoon police arrested Cheyenne in March 2017, charging her with second-degree murder and offering an indignity to a body for dumping Brittney's remains. In January 2018, Cheyenne stood in a Saskatoon courtroom, the weight of her actions bearing down on her. The prosecution presented a case built on that haunting selfie, the belt, and Cheyenne's own words to her friend. But Cheyenne's story shifted again. Through her lawyer, Lisa Watson, she admitted to causing Brittney's death but claimed she had no memory of the act. She said she was lost in a fog of drugs and alcohol, her last clear memory being Brittney taking her phone after they left a house party. "I'll never forgive myself," she wrote in a statement read in court. "Nothing I say or do will ever bring her back. I am very, very sorry. It shouldn't have ever happened. The Crown and defense agreed on a plea deal, reducing the charge to manslaughter." On January 15, 2018, Cheyenne pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 7 years in prison. The courtroom was thick with grief as Brittney's family delivered their victim impact statements. Her father, Everett, spoke of the guilt that consumed him, replaying the day he missed seeing her to fix her car. "That was the last opportunity I could have had to see my beautiful daughter alive," he said, his voice breaking. Christy, her stepmother, looked at Cheyenne and said, "She trusted you. You could have taken her to a hospital instead of leaving her to die in the street." Her Uncle Al described Brittney as a light in their family, taken too soon. "We truly miss her every day," he said outside the court. Brittney's aunt, Jennifer Gargle, spoke of the agony of imagining Brittney's final moments, fighting for her life. Her younger sister, still a child, felt guilty if a day passed without thinking of Brittney. The pain was raw, the loss unbearable. Cheyenne sat in silence, tears streaming down her face. Through her lawyer, she expressed remorse, saying she wished she could explain why it happened, but her memory was a blank. Judge Marilyn Gray acknowledged the complexity of the case, noting that the 7-year sentence balanced the brutality of the crime with Cheyenne's guilty plea and remorse. She urged Cheyenne to honor Brittney by becoming a positive member of the community. "You owe it to her," Judge Gray said. But for Brittney's family, no sentence could bring peace. Cheyenne's inability to explain why she killed her best friend left a wound that would never heal. The case became known as the Facebook Selfie Killer case, a stark reminder of how social media can intertwine with tragedy. That single photo, posted in a moment of joy, became the key to solving a murder. "Here's your key piece of evidence, and it's in a picture on Facebook," said Sergeant Ernie Lutet. "It doesn't get much better than that when you're trying to prosecute somebody for murder." The selfie, combined with Cheyenne's confession to a friend and the DNA evidence, closed a case that had haunted Saskatoon for 2 years. But it left lingering questions. Why did Cheyenne snap? Was it the drugs, the alcohol, or something deeper in their friendship? Without her memory of the act, the truth remains out of reach. Cheyenne's story didn't end with her sentencing. In June 2020, she was granted day parole, but it was revoked 4 months later after she overdosed, used an unauthorized laptop, and disrespected her parole officer. In 2024, her statutory release, mandatory after serving 2/3 of her sentence, was suspended after an incident at a halfway house. She was later released to a treatment facility, with the parole board noting her struggles with substance abuse and a traumatic past in foster care. In February 2025, her release was revoked again after she allegedly stole vehicles and led police on a high-speed chase. The board criticized her for justifying her actions, claiming the system had set her up to fail. Her sentence is set to end in April 2025, but her future remains uncertain. For Brittney's family and friends, the pain endures. A memorial stands on Cedar Villa State Road, where her body was found, a quiet tribute to a life cut short. Her case was featured in a 2021 award-winning podcast by the Saskatoon Star Phoenix called She's Gone, which gave voice to Brittney's spirit, her dreams, and the grief of those who loved her. Atasha Story's words echo, "She was just here 9 hours ago." That sentence captures the suddenness of her loss, the disbelief that someone so vibrant could be gone in an instant. This case is a story of contrasts, friendship and betrayal, a carefree night and a violent end, a selfie that symbolized joy but revealed a killer. It's a reminder that the darkest truths can hide in plain sight, in the places we least expect. For Brittney Gargle, an 18-year-old with big dreams and a brighter future, that truth came too late. Her family holds on to her memory, her light, and the love she brought into their lives. This story isn't just about a crime, it's about a life stolen, a family broken, and a community forever changed. Thank you for joining me on this heartbreaking journey into the chilling case of Brittney Gargle. If this story moved you, please hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel to keep these stories alive. I want to hear from you. What struck you most about Brittney's story? Was it the selfie that solved the case, the betrayal of a friendship, or the family's enduring pain? Drop a comment below and share your thoughts. Your voice matters, and together, we can honor Brittney's memory by keeping her story alive. Until next time, stay safe and keep seeking the truth.